I was wondering where we were. It was we were supposed to come right on. Oh well, that
I didn't hear anything or see anything.
you didn't see anything. You didn't
Mm-mm.
see the intro.
No, I didn't hear
Did
anything
anyone
either.
else see or hear the intro? I had it playing and I was actually dancing to it in the hello everyone. Hi Denise, did you hear the intro? Bora Bora? Yes. Okay, you were just sleeping then. You must have taken a nap, Lily. Well, there we are. Oh my gosh. So, welcome everyone. It's so nice to see you. And Lalit has a really big show for you
A
tonight.
really big show.
Really big show. And I'm going to be, of course, looking at the comments. If you have a question, and we're going to take questions if we have time, make sure you write them in really big words, all caps. Now,
Caps.
McGrill, I did pass on your message to Lali, and she said I was just thinking about that. So it will be addressed, and then once we get starting about talking and jibber jabbering, I do have something that a viewer sent to me I'd like to read, but because there is so much happening in the skies, I think I'm going to bow out and allow Lalit to take over.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. I'm so glad you all showed up. It's a really important time. It's a pivotal time. And I do have some suggestions to help us feel better in all of that. But I'll just start by saying that, yes, I got this question from McGrill. I see you're here tonight. Good. And thank you for the excellent question. It was so weird when Debra sent me the text about it. I was just thinking about it. And so we were on the same wavelength. Here is McGrill's question. 45's rescheduled sentencing date is September 18. That is also lunar eclipse. He was born on an eclipse. What does this mean for him? Well, we're going to discuss his sentencing and the whole thing. We're going to start today. I've prepared like 7 or 8 different charts. They're all in little windows. I just have to click on it and it's ready to go. And we're going to briefly discuss every situation. I have Biden's debate chart, Trump's debate chart. I have the Supreme Court decision, the July 2nd, a couple of days ago, the new moon today, July 15, the Republican convention. And we're going to wrap it up with answering McGrill's question because we are going in chronological order of the events as they unfold. So we're going to discuss things both from the political and social aspect, and also as how those same transits will affect people individually. So let's go for it because I know you're all anxious to hear about what's going on and whatnot. So let's talk about the first debate. Now, I would like to start out by saying something which is really kind of important. And I have talked to you before about Reagan's astrologer and how Nancy had a very close tie and she didn't let him do anything without making sure everything was approved by the astrologer. But that astrologer, let's see, name Joan Quigley, Joan wrote a book about her experiences with being the Reagan astrologer. And one comment she made was that a main job of her focus was to pick the debate days so that it would be a bad astrological aspect for poor Jimmy Carter, who was the incumbent president that Reagan was up against. So she picked days that were negative astrologically for Jimmy Carter and positive for Ronald Reagan. And it's a non-scientific survey, but it did pan out, as did many things in Reagan's presidency. But the fact is that the the first debate was chosen by the Democratic National Committee at the time and everything. And boy, they really picked a loser. And we're going to look at Biden's chart, which is very bad time for negative and the opposite for, and a good transit for Trump. Well, luckily though, this is a spoiler alert. When we talk about the Republican National Convention, it's opposite day because the Republicans chose the date and they picked the worst date in this whole period of time. I mean, really extremely bad. So there's something to look forward to. So let's jump right into it. And we will notice that the presidential debate occurred when there was the conjunction. Saturn was in 19 degrees. And here, let's look at the chart, and we'll just do this as really quickly as we can. So I have marked the little red thing at the bottom of the screen, IC. That means Imum Cheli. That is the midnight point in any person's chart. So whenever you look at your own horoscope, you'll know this is not how you present yourself to the world. This is your inner self. And it's the dark midnight point. So like the dark night of the soul. So if you are seeing this in your own chart, something on the Imum Cheli, it's something of an innermost quality, but it's not it could be very hidden from the world. Things that you look at in the world are up at the top of your chart. So Saturn was in 19 degrees of Pisces, and guess what? Biden's Imum Cheli is 19 degrees of Pisces. Saturn, restriction, appearing old, with Neptune appearing confused, all of it in Pisces, dispersive, no focus. With the moon there also, all of this is amplified, and it was exactly conjunct the lowest point in his chart. So the lowest vital energy, the lowest physical energy, showing age, confusion, and the rest. We've all heard this. So why wasn't it the same for Trump? Well, let's look at Trump's chart for the same moment in time. Trump he had a good aspect to the midheaven. The midheaven up at the top is how you present yourself to the world. Now we know he's a stage man. We know he's the game show host. Venus was in a positive aspect to his midheaven in Taurus, the ruler of Venus. So Venus rules Taurus. It's in a sextile to his midheaven, with also Mercury and Sun involved. Good communication, vital energy with the Sun, charming, charismatic, lovable. Of course, he still has the Neptune influence of the day, which is all the lies he spewed back, but nobody seemed to be bothered as much by that as some of us were. But you see that that day was a completely opposite day. But in terms of the result, that Neptune thing for Trump, it was in the house number 8, though. So in the end result of all of this for Trump does not look that good. So we're going to be talking about that. So that chart for Trump was showing Venus. It was a charismatic, powerful presentation on his part, even if it was just one lie after the other. So if only I need to apply for a job at the White House. Biden needs my help. We need to pick a better day. My goodness, the coaches really need to be fired because they focused on giving him a lot of facts, and that was not the point of the day. That was not it. So, all right, let's Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention this, but we talked about this last week. Do you remember that last week in our show, we talked about that, the Saturn and Neptune coming together? And I said, oh, please don't be worried, don't have anxiety, and don't be fearful. Promise me you'll notice the urge to feel that way, and really you need to focus yourself in a positive energy. And that was really hard, wasn't it? It was really, really hard because we all felt that. So, but if we get involved in fear and anxiety and disillusion, feeling like we saw fatigue and lack of mental focus, that was so disturbing. But I want to say one thing. There is that Saturn fact in there, and that's the way to pull yourself out of that. I saw is Saturn's is structure or action, taking some act to push, to forge through and create a new kind of structure. Well, I saw something on what is it? Is his name Brian Tyler Cohen? I don't have the right name. Brian Tyler Cohen. I don't think I have the right name. I'll think of that show later, but I have a real suggestion, and I forgot to write this down for you, but I'll get it when Debra's doing her thing. I'll write this number down. He had the phone number for Dick Durbin, and he wants all of us, and I say this is a really good move, to make a little phone call to the office in the Senate there where Dick Durbin does the Senate Judiciary for a hearing about the Supreme Court, which moves us on to the wonderful next thing that happened, which was another piece of wonderful news, wasn't it? Oh my goodness. But you have the Supreme Court decision is kind of a blessing in disguise for us, in the same way that Roe is going to help us don't lose sight of our main goal. The main goal is November the 5th. Get a big turnout of voters. Now, it's been proven that Roe versus Wade has about a 90% among independents and Democrats, 90%, and it's a large amount among Republicans that are very dissatisfied with the Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade. The female population, the Latino population, we know that's true, but this is also doubly true for the immunity. It's been shown in the surveys that 90% of Americans do not want that presidential immunity that Trump got and see it as un-American. I saw a beautiful image that I meant to put up on my screen. I didn't get it. I'll get it for next time. It's maybe you saw it on a post. It was a picture of Donald King dressed like King Charles, with all the medals and ribbons and a big crown. And this is the first king of America. And he just looked, it was really repulsive. But seeing that on Independence Day was not a real positive thing for people. So in the long run, that's going to help us win the game, because we need the turnout. People are very turned off by that. Vast majority of all Americans are turned off so big by those two items that it's going to snowball. And we will be seeing, with that immunity thing, one other good, and we're going to look at the decision in a moment. Remember that it's going now to Chutkin, who has to hold hearings, evidentiary hearings. In the process of having those hearings, evidence is going to come out that will be very negative for Trump. So let's look at the Supreme Court decision. Now, this was the one thing we're not going to talk about it too much at length. At the top, I've circled something that's coming up more a little bit later, but it's the Mars and Uranus conjunction in red up at the top. This is coming down the pike. It's not exact yet. It's 9 degrees, so it's still it's effective, but at the beginning. The thing about that day was the moon was present, and the moon was triggering that aspect of Mars-Uranus conjunction. So you will find in astrology, and this will happen in your chart and in transits and in things, when the moon is transiting and it ticks off an aspect that hasn't quite blossomed yet, it can trigger it like a fuse, set it off early. And that is what happened with that Supreme Court decision. And that exact conjunction, that conjunction is going to be exactly perfect the day of the Republican convention. Oh, hallelujah. When that day was chosen, and I happened to be talking to Debra, this was months ago. I said, boy, I looked at that day and I said a bad word. I'm going to say it here. I hope they don't dock us. But I just said, well, that's going to be a shit show in a dumpster fire. I'm sorry to say that, but there's no other word. It's really explosive. We're going to talk a lot about Mars-Saturn conjunction because it does affect everybody at that time. It's very, very big one. We're not there yet. We're just getting out of the Neptune's, the Saturn thing. Saturn was becoming stationary right on the day of that debate. And I had mentioned you, when Saturn becomes stationary, or any planet becomes stationary just before it goes retrograde, it magnifies the power because it's just sitting there, and that's all of its power is focused. And it was so heavy on that particular day, the exact degree of Biden's chart. That was a very unfortunate thing. So that aspect was in mutable signs. So we have mutable air, we've got Gemini and Earth. Mutable Earth is Virgo, mutable Earth is fire is Sagittarius, and mutable water is Pisces. So people who have, like, in the around 19 degrees of those signs will be afflicted by that more than others. And it can show some maybe escapism or procrastination and tug of war between the practical side and the need to organize and restructure, but feeling like lost and dispersive and lack of focus and tired and confused a little bit. So that can happen. But Mercury's going to be moving quickly to Jupiter, and we're having happier days now. And with the new moon that we have, the worries that we had with the Mercury opposite to Pluto, which was very heavy, paranoia, fear of the unknown, like bad news, we all felt that. And it was really deep beneath the surface, like a feeling of foreboding and, oh no. That is also triggering the whole U.S. chart, which had that same aspect. So the good news is that this new moon we're having today really hardly has any bad things to say about it. It's some wonderful things. We'll talk about that briefly before we move on to the next thing, because there's a lot going on. You can feel it. It's been so intense. So let's look at the before we do the just leading up to today, we're going to look at the July 2nd date, because that was right after the Supreme Court decision. Mercury was opposite Pluto. You see it in red. That is dark thinking, and you're thinking mafia kind of underhanded, something dark energy, maybe corruption. Maybe, the Supreme Court has got so much money from those people, millions and millions of dollars, and that is the thinking. Now we're moving now with Jupiter and the moon are a little more fortunate, and we're moving out of that now, and we're going to look at our new moon that is just today. So the new moon today is July 5th, and it became exact just about 4 p.m. Pacific a couple hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. So you could say, for all practical purposes, it's quite precise, and it does have some beautiful aspects. The moon, sun, and Venus are circled in the light, a turquoise color up at the top. They're all together, lovely, in the sign of Cancer. You know, the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and the lunar energy and the feminine Venus are also together. This is harmony, love, beauty, art, good, beautiful communications and friendships and love between people, like we're having in our love group tonight. It's a wonderful moment. It's shared with Neptune in Pisces. All of these are the water signs. So Saturn, Neptune, Moon, Sun, and Venus, all in water signs. So that is a beautiful for intuition, your spiritual side, and all of that. And we will notice that Mercury has just left the being in Cancer, and it just entered into Leo. And today, Mercury has changed energy. Excuse me. Water. So Mercury is in the sign of Leo now. So communications, and you're going to have a little brighter, sunshinier, Leo being the sunshinier attitude. Things are beginning to feel a little bit better. So today and the next few days are good news for everybody. And it's time for you to set your intentions, because just today we're beginning the whole new lunar cycle. So for the next 2 weeks, we're growing the desires that you have today. So they let them be good ones, and focus your intentions, watch your thoughts, and don't allow your thoughts to go into dark places, because this is the time that your intentions are brought into a manifestation. So we want to be thinking very positively and observe how you think, because the whole first half of this month, up to the 19th of July, is the growing phase of the moon, where you are reaping the things that you start in this day. So give it some real thought, and meditate upon this as you go to bed tonight. Do your dream journal and set your feet on solid ground. With Saturn is wanting us to take responsibilities, managing our problems, and getting a handle on things. So you want to be eliminating what no longer serves you. So it's a very emotional time. So I'm going to bring out that the action you can take is calling the Senate office, or sending a message to them that you want a hearing for the Judiciary Committee. It's Brian Tyler Cohen. Yes, he was saying that they keep a log of everyone's call, and he said that if they get thousands of calls, they take notice that people are wanting them to take action. So we had to sit through ridiculous hearings about Biden, about the Attorney General, about Joe Biden, about Hunter Biden, the things that were just useless, made up stuff. And we need a hearing on something serious, because the Supreme Court has really done a disservice to our country. All the legal experts are saying that it's as it is now, it's the end of the American way. And no.
Wait.
Yes.
I adore you, but I'm going to interrupt this
Okay.
train of thought, because it starts sounding like MSNBC, and I'm just going to jump in. So I heard something different than the news channels, and I know that Judge Sotomayor said exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
End of everything. The sky is falling. I do believe there has been a shift, but if you read the document, They went right up to that, but they didn't cross over, as far as I know, because everything gets a second look now to be judged whether he did do things officially or not. And from what I'm hearing and researching is that everything he's been convicted for, except from one thing.
Oh yeah, that is not affected. That won't be affected.
It will be affected because now he has. It's the past, but nonetheless, they're reassessed because anything's in the pipeline. I know you want me to hurry up, but I do not want this to turn into.
No, but remember how I started. I started by saying that this is going to pay off for us big time in the big picture.
I think you should mention that more, or at the beginning of everything that is said that's catastrophic. Because this is not a place catastrophic thinking. But I'm sorry.
That people are saying, I don't think it's going to turn out that way. But you're going to hear a lot of that. I said all the news comment. I said all of the legal experts were making this comment, but it's going to pay off for us in the big picture.
We have to have our discerning eyes on. But I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to be so bold. No,
that's good.
But I need to
point that out.
Because it's just going to, my channel, I don't want it to sound just like everyone else's.
No,
so
I didn't intend for that. And
I know, and I'm sorry. The
big picture is this is going to pay off for us where it counts.
I think what it is
November 5th.
Saturn came in and made me sparkle. So I came out like
but it's doing that to everyone. We're all having those moments of darkness, and they creep in, and that is exactly what we're talking about. How to deal with those.
How to thread the needle of how to think discerningly, because even though a lot of people are saying one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I think it's leaked. This kind of Fox stuff has leaked into our stuff, our media too. So I'm just saying.
We're focusing on November 5th, where people are going to come out in droves. Biden is going to win in a landslide.
Yes, that's true.
And also Kamala Harris' positive energy is picking up. I think she'll play a bigger picture in this because her energy is growing. And it's going to be so big because people in America are clear in what their choice is, both on Roe and on the immunity thing.
True.
We're going to be changing the Supreme Court. Glenn Kirshner had the best suggestion. He said each judge is the presider over a district, each Supreme Court justice.
Yes.
And there are 13 districts, and we need 13 judges, one for each.
Exactly.
Right. So we need 4 more. Only fair is fair. We can play the Republican game too.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you be, and I'm sorry. I did.
No, not sorry. No,
not
sorry.
I adore everyone.
This is what we're all thinking. Yeah. This is how our minds are going. So when that happens, you say, no, we are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Even though it may be a bumpy road right now.
Yeah.
But we have some good news coming up, which is the Republican convention, because they did not have an astrologer help them pick their date. And man, did they pick the worst day of the whole year. I mean, it is really bad. So let's look at the Republican convention. So here's the good news. We've been waiting for some good news. There's now, not only is Uranus exactly conjunct Mars, 26 degrees of Taurus exactly on the day of the 15th of July. It's exact. And I wrote a note there, Algol, which is a fixed star, and it's known as the malefic, the most malefic, the worst of the fixed stars forever. In fact, our English word ghoul, Ghoul, like the ghouls and the monsters, comes from that word, from that Arabic word about that star, which has a very bad reputation. And they're all in exactly the same spot in the sky. and it's a really strong thing. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because and we want to talk about how it might affect your own chart also, and what the general specifications are for that indication. So you see it there: Uranus, Mars, together with the fixed star Algol, all ghouls day thing, like the monsters. Anyway, it's a very very difficult thing. So let's talk about that, because we're going to talk about how that might affect your personal chart also. It's in the sign of Taurus. So people who have the latter part of the fixed signs, that is from 20 to 30 degrees of any of the fixed signs, are going to feel it in the most challenging way. So the thing, with Uranus, we've talked about it because we had Uranus and Jupiter. We started out our year with that. Yeah, nice touch of fixed stars. We'll see how nice that algo is going to be. Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer group, right? So let's see. We have Uranus being urgent, explosive, violent, volatile, unexpected upheavals. Now, that is the traditional earthquake predictor. Uranus with Mars, and it could be a real earthquake in the physical plane, and since it's in Taurus, which is the Earth, we might expect something like that. But it's definitely shocking, possible atrocity you might see in the war zones. I hate to say it, but I think Israel has an algol, the same kind of thing in their natal charts. So there might be something in one of the war areas, but there is a drive for freedom with that Uranus. So there might be some protest or some demonstrations or some pushing back, but something surprising and explosive. To give you historical perspective on what Uranus and Mars together have caused in the past, World War II ended with the nuclear explosions. That was Mars and Uranus. The uprising at our capital on January 6th was also Mars entering Taurus and beginning the conjunction with Uranus. We have the capital thing was also bad. So that's the situation for the Republican convention. So we will hope that all of these wonderful prognostications come to pass, but it's definitely expect something unexpected and some kind of surprise. And of course, if it's a surprise, we don't know what it is, but we know that we're going to be surprised, and that it's going to be something explosive, and there's going to be some combative. I think there are some people who are going to be unhappy there. Okay, this is your question, McGrill. The question relating to, and I drew on it a lot. You can see this is Trump's chart is on the inner wheel, and the day of his sentencing, September 18th, is on the outside. Now, her question was, Trump is born at an eclipse. That's true. And when you look at the inner wheel, if you see down at the very bottom, you see the moon. It's the lowest thing. At the Imum Cheli that you learned about, where Biden had that bad thing happen, Trump is born with the eclipse sign, moon, and the south node in the same place, 20 and 21 degrees of Sagittarius. To have an eclipse, both the moon has to be near the moon's node, and the sun has to be near the node. And if you look at his sun is in 22 Gemini, and the north node of the moon is in 20. So they're very close in both places. So he was born right at the eclipse. The eclipse on the 18th is already past, for one thing. It's like 16 hours after it happened. And furthermore, the sun is much further away from the node. The sun is in 26 degrees of Virgo, and the moon's node is in 6 degrees of Libra. So that's 10 degrees apart. That's really too wide to be a serious eclipse. That's the kind you would feel tangentially, but eclipse in his natal chart is very intense. So this is a trigger, and it is a very powerful day. One thing I will say about the power of the day, look up at the top, you'll see Jupiter in blue at the very top of the chart. It's in Gemini. That's the one good thing in his chart because it's right on top of his sun. This might be, you know how in Greek plays they had this thing they called Deus, Deus, ex machina, the god of the machine. Like in a play, there'd be something dramatic thing would come and rescue pull them up in a chariot and they'd fly away. They had little machines that would do that for a show, and it might happen that he'd get a little rescued, but there might be a small amount of rescue on that day. However, Mars is in 8 degrees of Cancer that day. And guess what his Mercury is in? 8 degrees of Cancer. He is going to be blowing a gasket. This is like brain aneurysm time. I'm not a medical doctor, and this is for entertainment purposes, but wouldn't that be entertaining? It's Mars and Mercury is he's going to be raging like a bull. And he's going to be mad as a hatter, and he's going to lose control because it's in an emotional sign, and he's really going to lose control. He's born with Mars in Leo on the ascendant. So his Mars is already out of control. Put it passing over his Mercury and forget it. But notice Mercury on that day is in opposition to Saturn in Pisces. Exactly. 15 degrees, both of them. This is negative. This is depressing. It's in Neptune, which is the sign of jail. So there is a chance, some form of confinement. But let me put it this way. He is never going to be the same after this because his status is really going down the tube. And there's some restriction involved in him. It might not be a jail like Steve Bannon went to this week, but some restriction and some very heavy negative thinking on he's mad. He is mad as a bull, and he is just bursting at the seams. So that is a very bad day for the Donald. And so remember that this is closer to the decision day of November 5th. Americans have a short memory. And if he had the decision now, it would be over by the time he goes to the convention. Now it's no longer resolved. So it's up in the air, and they'll have to say, well, what if he's in jail at the election day? What if he's confined? And it's an unknown. So that's going to add something unknown to the convention, and it's going to be very good for all of us, and not good for Donald. So he went from the frying pan into the fire that day of September 18th is not a happy day for.
Gosh, I said this last week. I think I'm going to say it again. I said that the debate day was a 5 energy signature, which you just have to, anything can happen kind of thing. But I was so excited about the president going on and wiping the floor with him. But that's what we do when we're cheerleading for people. And so, and I understand that. Now somebody did this. I starred all this. I want to say something here. Just a minute. Let me find it. It was a great one. Oh, here it is. She was saying, Charlie was Sage of Fire was saying, well, maybe he has an astrologer, and that's why the debate went the way he did. And I got to tell you one thing.
Chose the day.
But I'll tell you something. Someone had said, millionaires use psychics to predict their next move. Billionaires use astrologers.
I'll have to raise my price.
Uh-huh. And so Trump does not have $1 billion.
He ain't got
So,
diddly squat.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's the further along we get toward decision day, the more the snowball effect will happen for his rapid deterioration, decline, shall we say. He's not going to be in good shape, physically low.
So Mary Thornberry says, I am definitely staying home and low on that day. Now there was
Oh.
someone who said that they're going to have an open carry. They may have an open carry at the GOP convention. And I
Oh
thought,
my God.
that would be even better because they're so excited about things and they get their old testosterone going. Gosh, boom,
That
bang.
convention is going to be really
Get your popcorn.
mudslinging. I have one other thing I wanted to show.
Okay.
Now, this is how it relates to our charts. Now, I had a chart request from a lady. I don't know if she's here tonight, and I told her if I didn't know, I would not show her name or anything, but I will say this person is born in Los Angeles in the month of April. This is not it. This is not it. This is the chart. Oops. Wow. It disappeared on me. I had it right in that window. When I clicked on it, it went away. What happened? All right. I will get it. I know how to get it. So I'll get it while I'm talking. So there. Okay. Hold on 1 minute because I've got it in the file. So we're talking about the big. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the file.
Okay. I'm at it.
We're talking about. Let me fix the screen.
I'll be dancing on stage while you're going
you can
through
dance.
everything.
Yes, that would be a relief.
I'll do that.
Anyway, we want to see how this Mars and Uranus conjunction is going to affect everybody. So what we want to notice is if you have anything in the last 10 degrees of a fixed sign.
Wait a minute.
So if you have it in the last 10, if you have anything in the last 10 degrees, that is from 20 to 30 degrees in any of the fixed signs, that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. So 20 to 30 degrees in any of those. And we're going to see an example of someone in our class. And here it is here. I've just got it ready to call up. So if you have anything there, it's going to be very challenging. This is the Mars Uranus conjunction in Taurus. So it would make a negative aspect for any let's see, if for any planets in those places. Now let's hold on here. Let's see if this is the one. Yes. Amazing. Okay. All right. So that's it. I think I got it back in the original one I put up. Yes. Okay. It actually was there. That was operator error. I clicked on the wrong window. That was my fault. It was there all along. So this is her chart, and she's a member of this group. And if she's not here, she'll watch it later. I've sent her emails that I was going to talk about her because her Saturn at her birth is circled on the ascendant. Her Saturn is in 29 degrees of Leo at birth. And that's in that range of 20 to 30 degrees of a fixed sign, Leo. But notice it's in such a prominent place on her chart, right on the ascendant rising. Her ascendant is Virgo, so she can tend to be worried or anxious or obsessed about something, thinking about it a lot. And with Saturn there, that's what she's going to have to avoid, is being worried or having anxiety. And so she's going to have to get her armor, her psychic armor, to have diversions that bring her into the love and heart centered place. So she's thinking of gratitude and things of that sort that will bring her out of the dump, because that Saturn on her ascendant, the ascendant is also the physical body, so it can affect your body if you are worried. If you're worried, it will make you actually ill. So you want to avoid that. Mars and Uranus at the top are in 26 degrees of Taurus. So that's a square aspect. So anybody that has those last degree, any planets in the last degrees of the fixed sign, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius, watch out for some, be prepared. Forewarned is forearmed for some challenges that you can have in your personal life. And challenges are opportunities for growth and learning, right? And you've signed up for this, so always remember, you're not a victim of circumstance, because we are all here creating our own challenges. We came to this planet with lessons we need to learn, and we have created all of the stuff around us. Yes, once you accept that, you may say, why in the world would I create such a thing? Well, the fact is, if it's around you, if you're looking at it, you did create it. So once you can accept that, that gives you control over it, though.
But I think it goes back. That opportunity makes you go back, maybe days or hours or years or decades, to say what one choice directed me towards this situation. But we're not going to get out of life without some hard days. And I understand, but it's the living in the hard days and saying yes to hard days. That could be troublesome. Is when we say yes all the time. Well, I deserve this. I must have done something terrible in a past life, so I've got to suffer this life, and that justifies staying in a bad place. And so it's tough. It's easier to stay with what do you call it? The devil you know than the devil you don't. But there's this is how karma works. It's not like you're accruing good and working off bad. You're not doing that. It's every choice and you make. So if in your mind you stay discerning, then you say, oh, this doesn't feel comfortable. I'm not going to bulldoze myself through it. I'm just going to step back and be discerning about my next step. And it takes a little practice with that, because we get, it takes some practice, but that's why I'm thinking it's so the huge boulder that's coming down every single mountain is the same thing that I don't think is true. Yes, it did. The Supreme Court did do some damage, but it's not anything we can switch around, and it's not devastating like it could have been. Total immunity. That's when it wasn't total immunity. But anyway, it's a drama that's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yes, and the Chinese say, may you live in interesting times. Aren't we lucky?
Yep. Aren't we lucky? I think, and it's going to be, the bottom line is it's going to, let's see, our comfort zone will be challenged. So why don't we know that in the next year, I mean, the next week, even it's the next year and the year after that, our comfort it has been challenged, correct? So instead of losing sleep over it, like we did in the beginning, what was it? So 8 years ago, we started losing sleep about 2016. We know things are going to present themselves that make us uncomfortable. Why don't we declare right now that we're going to rethink that discomfort and say, okay, you're going to bring that on. These are the new choices I will make. And some of those new choices might be to turn off any channel that TV and all, radio and all that stuff that go down this popular road of saying it, implying that it was full immunity when it was not. But it's a fine line, the dance I want to try and do here, because we're all so powerful and strong, and we got each other here, and this is a safe place to be. I want to share something. There's a man. Are you through, Lily?
Yeah.
Okay. There is a man both Lily and I have followed, and it is this guy. Let me see here. Let me see what this does. Okay, I'm gonna let you hold on. I'm gonna get a little more room here. Okay, so it's this guy. His name is Alan Lichtman, and he has this this what do you call it? Chart, right? Has a chart there that he has. It's called the 13 keys, and he will determine who will be president. He has predicted the president for every election. He defied everybody else and said it was going to be Trump when it was Trump, because he has this key. I'm going to go back to the. Okay, Mary, you have heard of him. There's some people who have heard of him. So anyway, the first key is midterm gains. So it fell for the Republicans. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't want to confuse anyone, but the graph on this side here, right here, is where it's certainly true. You see it's dark blue is definitely Democrat. Dark red is definitely Republican. Likely true, because things are moving all the time, is in light blue and light red, and kind of leans towards something is the different lighter colors. So yes, I believe that to be true. Think he is an intuitive as well, but he's all math, and I kind of like that, because I like the numbers. I'm terrible at math, but I like the numbers. I like science. I like, and we've been on the planet for so long. Even the newest people on the planet were able to watch the stars and make notes about it. So anyway, so the first one that is in the Republicans' favor, this is a current chart, and he does them periodically because the keys turn. So the first one is midterm gains, and the Republicans did fine. So that's one of the keys for the Republican. But then no primary contest when there wasn't anybody else. So there's no contest at the Republican convention, the Democratic convention, no contest. We know it's Biden and Trump. I was going to say bump. So that's for the Democrat, because it's also an incumbent. So I wanted to say these three things about the first three things, seeking a re-election. So if perhaps the key for the third key will not turn red if Biden stays in, he will remain the incumbent. If he hands over the presidency to Kamala Harris before the election, she will become the incumbent. She won't turn the key at all. She will remain the incumbent. Where he has said, Dr. Lichtman has said, where that key turns is if Biden says to the Democratic committee, well, I'm going to step aside. You choose who's going to run. And then there's this feast, this mad feast of things. And that's when you lose that key to the Republicans. So crying for Biden to step aside is fine if you say we support Harris. crying for Biden to step aside and just hand it over, which is kind of his personality, that let's have the group decide. That will turn the key. And we're good on keys. We'd have to lose about four keys would have to turn red for us to be in trouble. But the fourth one is no third party, and that's likely, it leans true. I don't think Kennedy is going to be third party strong or anything. So it's kind of likely that there's no third party. So it does lean to Democrats. The fifth one, oh gosh, here we go. Sorry if there's a reflection. The fifth one is strong start of the short term economy is strong, and that's positive. And he's not doing like how people feel about the economy. He based this on science, so it would be how the economy really is. It's what the numbers say it is. The other one is a strong long-term economy, which is definitely true. So that key is for Democrats. The major policy change, there's no major policy change. There's either there is no, I'll have to read up on this one, no major policy change, but I'm not sure what he thinks about this. I'll have to study the seventh key. Key 8 is no social unrest. It's not like the riots. It's not like, there's no social unrest as of late, but see, it leans true for the Democrats. Now that's before the Republicans bring out their big testosterone guns. And there's key 9, no scandal. So there isn't a scandal. There's a rumbling of age, and that's about it, but there's no scandal. He's not sleeping with people that he's trying to cover up. He's not stealing money. There's no scandal. So key 10 is no foreign military failure. Now that goes likely to the Republicans, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to ask him if I can get him on my show. Teaser. I already created the intro for him. I hope he likes it. Key 11 is major foreign military success. That is leaning towards the Republicans. A charismatic incumbent, that's definitely Trump, right? So that goes to the Republicans. And then an uncharismatic challenger, that definitely goes to Biden, and that definitely goes to keeps that key blue. So I know this is it's an interesting chart. I highly recommend that you listen to this guy. I'm going to take this away and read the comments. Denise says she's been listening to him, his interview. He is good. It looks like a lot of people have heard about him. I believe he is. Let's see. I'm gonna say his is not going to happen. Biden is going to win it. Yeah, that's what it says here. I'll show you again. Biden wins because of the keys. It's shaping up like this. So Biden, it's as it stands now, and he's been on a lot. You might look for him. He's been on a lot because there's a lot of people saying, I'm freaked out now. And he is just calming. Oh my God. He says, and so, well, what about the economy? People feel like it's a bad economy and things like, he says, no, you don't do the keys that way. You don't do the things on feelings. It's all what is supposed to be. So anyway, I am going to pull you back on to lovely Lalit. If I do it now, it'll just be me.
Okay. I had something.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I had something funny to show.
Oh, good. Please do.
Just a quick thing. Just a quick little thing. It was a post that. Let me get it here. Okay. it's appropriate for July the 4th. It's a writing on the sidewalk that says "We rose up." If you're not watching and you're listening, it's handwritten message. We rose up against a king once before, and will do so again. Signed by America, July 1st, 2024. I like
I
that.
love that. I love that so much.
I wanted that picture of Trump in the crown. He looked like such a doofus. I'll get it for next time, and I want to put that little picture where he looks like he ate the canary, where his chin is like this, how he gets that expression like he's so hot.
He's so hot. Yeah,
we'll put that
that
little
comes out.
chin where he looks like the cat that ate the canary. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, smirk.
He's
smirk,
clenching his teeth when he does
yeah.
it.
Okay,
That's what
I want to get that little shot put in there next to him in the crown to make him look like like what he is, which is not going to be king. It's not happening, folks. Don't.
No, it's not happening.
bunch.
Even though there are things that we need to go through, really, I am just shocked about the media, the left-leaning media falling for this. So I know it makes good media, but please be discerning and do your research. That's why we have Google, right? To actually understand what it really means. And so don't despair, my beautiful friends. So yes.
I put Dick Durbin's phone number somewhere important for class, and I don't have it, but I will get it next time. We've got time. And
so you're going to call Dick Durbin?
Everyone
on the phone?
here, you call his office and you say, we want an investigation and a hearing about the corruption in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he was a little dilly-dally about it before. He was kind of passing the one, and that's another thing I want to say is that the people who we are familiar with in office that are older, they have their own little skeletons, and I'm not blind to that, and I understand it, but a younger generation is going to help. But I'm frustrated with the younger generation at this time in the Democratic Party pushing the president out right now because of this incumbency thing. It's just a lot can happen after, but anyway, that's the long and short.
It's a long way to November.
We're going to be here for you. Don't lose sleep.
And we're going to have a big party on November 5th.
That's right. Get dancing. Maybe we can stream that convention. Get the popcorn. That would be so fun. You know what? I got to tell you, we are out of time, unfortunately, to do any readings, but I think it was a lively, important section of conversation.
This is the biggest period of the year. It's big, so we couldn't just pretend it wasn't happening, as everyone knows it is. So help you deal with it.
I got to say one more thing. Oh, thank you, Joyful. She said, great show. Lady Silver, I want to shine the light on one thing. Sterling said the media, big business, would push towards Trump. I'm going to go out on the line, out on a ledge here, and say to you, this is what I mean. It's in our own community. And I'm saying, yes, we need to be aware of things.
Us, and we need to be proactive and work at every person that we meet and talk to.
Someone who says it with such power that it will lean against us. This is going to be against us. How many people find it in their heart because they trust messages like this that, okay, it's against us, and we don't listen anymore after that. It's a fine line. What do you think?
I think we need to be proactive. I can tell you at the last election what I did. I live in Nevada, and it was a borderline state. So I live in an apartment building where there's seniors. I knocked on every door, hundreds of doors, hundreds. I knocked on everybody's door to see if anybody needed a ride to the polls. You can ask your neighbors if anybody needs a ride, or you can
Uh-huh.
volunteer for a phone bank, or you can write postcards that are sent out. You can do something concrete which will make it get rid that anxiety. You'll
Hey.
feel better when you do that.
I love it. We're getting some good vibes on that. Now I'd only add one thing. Ask them who they're voting for. If they're voting for Trump, don't give them a lift. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. That's
yeah,
just not
yeah,
spiritual, is it? But there's
yeah.
plenty of Republicans around here that would take them. So go ask the one that's flying the American flag upside down. He'll take you to the polls. So that's what I mean. Find your voice, but be discerning and stand strong, because we're here for you. You're not going to hear that devastating. You can call me on it if I start sounding like making just declarations of truth that fear news, because they're always going to lean towards Trump. No, that's not necessarily true. It looks like that now, but be discerning. That's what I feel, and I'm sticking with it. And I'm so grateful I don't rely. My livelihood does not rely on YouTube videos. I am so grateful. So if people don't like me, it really doesn't affect
Right.
the freedom in that, the freedom of that.
Yeah.
God bless you. But I love you guys. I love your support. I need your support. And I love our family. Don't you, Lalit? This is great. I love you. And we're going to dance off until next Friday. We'll see you here again. Love you all.